Good Monday morning to you, everybody. This is Paul Artale coming at you with another edition of The Opening Round, the weekly audio message that gets you on the path to success to bring you about the life that I know you deserve. Folks, do you like to blame the refs? The recent NFL referee strike definitely let a lot of people give out their opinions on this topic. I love sports just like a lot of people out there. I coached college football for 5 years, and referees are definitely an important and impactful part of any game. The question is, how responsible are they ultimately for a team's failure or success? This past summer, the U.S. women's soccer team played the Canadian women's soccer team in the Olympics. During a key point in that game, the Canadian goalkeeper was given a delay of game penalty, a yellow card, for holding on to the ball too long. It's a very rare and odd penalty that doesn't get called in soccer very much. But it did in this case, and it led to the U.S. tying the game and sending it to overtime when they eventually won. After the game, Canadian fans, to some degree, rightfully so, were enraged at this referee and the terrible calls that had been made all throughout the game. And they claimed that yellow card and the goal that followed it was the reason Canada lost, that referee handed the U.S. the victory. And so I got to thinking, and at first, I tended to agree. But as I reviewed some of the game highlights, I realized that the Canadian women had lots of opportunities to score that they didn't necessarily capitalize. I looked at the final score, and it was 4-3, which meant even without that bad call that led to a goal, the Canadian women still allowed 3 goals. And as I looked at the game in total, I thought, yes, the ref definitely had a bad impact on the result if you're a Canadian soccer fan. But there were other opportunities to be successful. And so let me ask you this again. Are you one who's prone to blaming the refs? How responsible are the refs in our lives, whether they're actual referees or judges in athletic contests, or they could be our boss, the bankers, anyone that holds some sort of influence over the outcomes in our lives? How much do we blame them for our failures and our challenges? It's a valid question. When I coached, we used to analyze game film all the time. And we lost some close games. I remember one game we lost 3-0. And we had a missed field goal that when we watched the tape again, actually should have been counted. We should have at least tied that game 3-3. And we were enraged. It was a terrible refereeing call and definitely not something that we were happy with. But as we went through the game statistics, we realized we made mistakes both on offense and defense that allowed drives to continue or drives to stall. Ultimately, even though there were some bad refereeing calls, we were responsible for our own fate. So take a minute and think about an event where a referee or a boss or some sort of person of influence impacted the result of a project you worked on or a dream you went after. How responsible were they? And regardless of that responsibility, what were some mistakes that you made that might have changed the outcome? More importantly, we should always be reflecting on how situations went, what we can learn from those situations, and how we can apply them to our lives to make us better the next time. Because when we do that, the referee doesn't become that important of a figure. And here's one more tip. If you're in a line of work or a point in your life where you know there's a lot of external factors that could impact you, I want you to start thinking about all the things that could go right and all the things that could go wrong. Being successful means being prepared. When I was coaching football, sometimes in the middle of a practice, in the middle of a scrimmage, we would make bogus calls on our players, even if they weren't true, just to get them used to the fact that bad things could happen in games that we had no control over. And because we had no control over them, we had to battle back no matter what. So think about whatever your dreams are, whatever projects you're working on. What are some of the potential outcomes that can happen there? Some good, some bad, and ask yourself how you're going to react when some of those things happen. The better prepared you are, the more calm, rational, and determined of a reaction you can have. And that reaction is the difference often between success and not getting what we want. So when something goes wrong, don't be quick to blame the refs. Analyze the situation, learn from it, and move forward. Try it this week. Let me know how it goes. Until next week, I'm Paul Artale, and this has been another edition of The Opening Round.